Can you hear me? Got your audio on, Seth?
Yes, I think I do.
Okay, I can hear you. Sounds like you can hear me. Got the maid in background in full fucking circle. Dude, you gotta wait. Did you hear Neil's, or maybe I told you? Fucking I did a six-part Zoom with him.
Uh-huh.
And he's dude, you're not gonna like his take on Iron Maiden. I was like, man, what did Seth say about this? He's like, I don't think we've ever talked about it actually. I was like, oh well
No,
shit. I
I
was
I can't remember we did actually, but I can't imagine what Niels has to say about Maiden,
yeah,
knowing Niels.
yeah, we did six parts. He's like, yeah, Seth did five. He's like, fuck him, we're gonna do six.
Nice,
I was like, oh shit,
nice.
okay. That's goddamn. So yeah, that was cool. I think the first one goes up in another few days, 7 days, something like maybe I don't know. Yeah, something I don't know. It's scheduled. They're all scheduled. I
Yeah,
got like two. I think I got fully 2 weeks from today completely uploaded 6 a.m. So it's good because in this coming Friday is Maryland Death Fest, and we'll be at that all 3 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll be there vending. So hoping to get some good interviews and post it. But just in case, like the day traveling and shit, I miss days. So when I have a nice backlog, that's how I don't. Because I've yet to miss a day yet where a video was uploaded. So
hmm.
and
Any
for
specific
like
bands you want to see?
yeah, the main one I want to see, and I have an interview set up with Yakum or Jaka, how you pronounce it, is General Surgery.
Ah,
I've never seen General Surgery before. I
hmm.
think the Necrology EP, I liked everything by them, even their comeback stuff, but the Necrology EP I think is the best gore grind EP ever, in my opinion. Big fan, never seen him. And again, however you pronounce his name, the only original guy. I emailed him and he confirmed an interview, so that should be cool. Johnny from Unleashed said he would. Guys in Flesh Parade said they would. Gates of Ishtar said they would. And Witch Trap, who's on our label. That might be it that's confirmed. We might be forgetting one or two. But
So I got some work to do.
yeah, but dude, it's a little annoying because there's a lot more. Like, for example, Carl Sanders from Nile. I've been trying to get him and he doesn't reply, which is weird as fuck. Dude, did you ever see my video where I ran out about Carl not replying to me?
I think I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, we do the fucking not do. We do the goddamn. We do the fulfillment for his merch store. Shit about like why would I mean, even if you don't want to do it, why wouldn't you at least reply and say, hey, no thanks, bro, I'm good, or I'm busy, or I'm tired, or I think you saw something. Say something like
yeah,
nothing. Like why would you just not even reply? That makes no fucking sense. But they're
yeah,
playing, so it'd be nice because if I'm there, I like to get because we're vending. Don't get me wrong. So it's like you're there for doing business, but I like to get as much shit done as productive and it's for the channel, and it's just cool to like interview bands that you know, it's spruce up the channel, dude. Because me just sitting in front of the camera, which it seems to be a lot of people's favorites, me just talking about the same shit. I don't know. I just think it gets kind of old. Don't you want like different material?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't want it to get repetitive. I think you talked in the video you uploaded today about it a bit,
Yeah,
about
yeah,
some plans you want to do in the future.
yeah.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't just follow the same recipe as all the other channels, you got to be authentic or diverse in one way or another.
To be
Don't
honest, though,
just
I don't
follow
know. I don't know.
ingredients.
I'm not sure what recipe they do because I don't really watch any other channels. The only stuff I watch metal related is like if there's a band that I like where it's an interview. For example, like that Chris Garza, who I had him on my channel. He's into the worst music on earth. He's into all that deathcore stuff, but he's a nice guy. He does his own podcast. His last one, he published the John McEntee interview, and I thought that was
Mhm.
really good. He went a couple days ago, and then a couple month ago or so, he did one with Chris Barnes. I thought that was good. I
Yeah,
don't know. Did you watch those at all?
I watched a few, and well, my personal take on all this is that I don't think the formula is the thing that matters and that helps. I think it's the person hosting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once people get a connection with certain people they like to watch, it's the same with TV shows. I mean, there's a lot of talk shows over here in Holland, but there's only one talk show that has like a million viewers per day, which in Holland is a lot, because we only have like what is it, 18 million people. So a
I
million a
didn't know
day
I
is
didn't
like,
know you got that many.
yeah. So well, yeah, there's a few. You don't want to shake hands with them all. But compared to the US, it's nothing, of course.
Sure.
So, but why do they get the most views? Because they don't have an awful lot of guests every night. They might have like one or two guests, but it's always the same three people at a table talking about everything. The main thing is soccer. That's why how the program started. But now they kind of expanded and do, they discuss politics and just like the stuff you discuss with your friends at the bar,
Yeah.
and the fact that people can completely relate to that. And that's the same when you do your subjects about, your irritations about bands or things in the genre or stuff like that.
Yeah.
People relate to that shit, So
Oh,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah, yeah.
people love watching that because they recognize it like, oh, yeah, I know these kind of people. I've seen them walking around in the, what is it, twink mold shirts and
Right.
floor
Right.
incantation.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But you mean I remember these terms because of the videos, It's
Yeah,
kind of
sure, sure.
it sets, yeah, it plants a seed or something. And I think if what you're doing is authentic enough, and you're being yourself enough, that's what draws a crowd.
Yeah, but the only problem I'm running with, and I understand why people like that shit for
Yeah.
for the reasons you say, but the problem I'm running into is that which it's funny because people that told me that I should start the channel thought that that's be part of the reason why others would enjoy it, is that I'm really out of the loop. And what I mean by that is like me going over opinions of like hot topics that are trending in the scene would be a good idea, but I just don't even know about it because I don't have like all the other social media and all over it. The only way I find out about shit is until somebody tells me, like physically, somebody I know tells me. So
Yeah.
people are talking about certain bands and this. I'm like, oh, dude, I have no idea who the fuck you're talking to. I have no fucking idea. So it would probably be even better if I stayed in the loop, but I just, number one, kind of don't care. And number two,
Yeah.
don't have time to sit there and keep up with all the goddamn scuttlebutt going on in the scene. But
No,
I need
if
an
you want to
inside
do
guy
that,
sending it all to me. I need
yeah,
someone just like shovel it. Hey, here it is, and like I can read the cliff notes and give my take on it.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
you need to do a lot of research by
Yeah,
just getting a Facebook account and just being on there a couple of hours a day to see what's,
right.
going on and what people talk about. And, especially the groups are the worst, I try to stay out of that shit as much as possible, I mean, I have my Facebook and I post some stuff here and there and, I scroll on the timeline here and there, but, the really interesting stuff usually pops up within the minute. So after 5 minutes, you basically seen it all, and I don't want to be in groups where people discuss like who's the better band, is it Morbid Angel versus Deicide
Right.
or even more stupid comparisons, like you know whatever, like Deicide versus My Dying Bride or something, like two completely
Wait,
different bands. Like,
yeah,
why the
100%. Yeah.
hell would you even think about that kind of shit,
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah.
cares, actually? Yeah,
Yeah, that's part of it
just
too. Is
play
like
whatever
what
music you want to play.
yeah, because some of it is like to go over it, it might be good for channel, but I can't even like the first thing that pops in my mind is just like you said, some of it's the topics. I'm just like, who the fuck cares? Like, what is it even going to say on this? Like, just, I don't know, listen to who you're going to listen to. Like, it's like, I don't even have much to
Yeah,
say about it. This is comments just so like, it doesn't seem like something that's even worth discussing. I'm like, there's really important things going on in the world. It's like, this is what you're talking about. It just feels like, I don't know.
definitely. Yeah, and if you do it daily, then death metal is kind of a small subject to
Yeah.
keep talking about, because you probably come back to the same subjects, the same bands. So, like you said in the other video, like another one about the Tish and Nunslaughter, and you've heard it all.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Boy, dude, how did the Neil's bust me up too, dude? How did your birthday barbecue go? And he said, I was like, so how was it, man? I asked him too. He's like, I didn't go. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't fucking go?
Yeah, he wasn't there. Yeah,
So,
Niels wasn't there. I don't know why he wasn't, but oh, he wasn't. He told me he was probably in Norway, but I don't know if he was at the end. But he
oh, I
makes
don't,
these trips to Norway every now and then.
oh, I
He
didn't get
goes
that part. Yeah,
hiking
he just
and
said he did.
really,
Yeah, he just said he couldn't do it or something like
yeah.
that. I'm like, oh man, I thought you're because he did. She
No,
told
but
me.
it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who all
yeah,
did
yeah.
show up? Put
Rob
it
was
that
there.
Rob was there. Okay, who
Yeah,
else did
Rob
I
was
know?
there, and the severe guys, Patrick, Thijs, and Dennis were there. Marvin couldn't make it, but he sent me a message. Um, Davey from Kuluminati was there, and some more friends. So it wasn't too big, but it was okay. You know, just a simple barbecue in the garden.
When you say
And
barbecue, is that are you barbecuing ribs? Or are we talking burgers and dogs, or how do you guys do it in Holland?
well, in Holland, people do it with the most weird shit every now and then. But how we do it here, because my wife is German, so she makes also a lot of German stuff like bear meat. I don't know how to say it in English, but it's big chunks of pig meat uh, rubbed in with mustard, pepper, and salt. And then you lay it in beer and onions for a couple of nights, and then you put it on the grill. We got sausages. I made burgers, and I do the burgers Texas style because I got a master class once from the uncleansed guys. They
Yeah.
taught me how to make good American burgers instead of the crappy Dutch ones. Um, yeah, they
Well,
taste like
what are
shit.
the so yeah? What is the crappy Dutch ones, and what's kind of like the food like over there? And I'll get to why I'm asking. I'm actually asking for a specific reason. My wife asked too. Like, what's traditional food? And when you say crappy Dutch burgers, let's start with burgers. Why are they crappy,
Well,
and what's different from them?
yeah, what they do, first of all, most of the places they don't use 100% beef. Nowadays they kind of do, but back in the day it was just half
Half
pig
what?
meat, beef,
Oh, beans and beef.
and
Okay,
then
yeah.
yeah, and then the way they season it with pepper and salt, and then they put an egg through it and breadcrumbs, so it kind of sticks together. But the way the guys from Texas explain it to me, they do salt, pepper, soya sauce, Worcester sauce, and Tabasco, and that gives like a way better taste to it, you know. And you don't need the egg, you don't need the breadcrumbs, all that kind of bullshit. Sometimes over here, when you go to one of them snack bars, you order a cheeseburger, they put the Gouda cheese on it instead of cheddar.
Yeah, yeah,
Ouch.
yeah, yeah.
Not good. So, you know, uh, the closest thing here, you know, if you want to get an American burger, there is a Five Guys in Eindhoven.
You have five guys.
And of
Okay,
course,
yeah.
yeah, Five Guys is pretty good. I mean, compared to McDonald's or, you know, that kind of stuff, we obviously have that.
Now, is your
Um,
McDonald's is it a little different? For example, my our younger brother, the one you never met, he was younger than even out of the three of us. I'm the youngest for Hell's Headbangers. He's even younger than me and likes more like thrash metal. And he was a
mhm,
Nunslaughter for like 10 years. And when they went to Japan, they went to McDonald's. Like, dude, yeah, they have. He's like, but it's like Japified. He's like, it's not like. He's like, for example, he's like on a McChicken. He's like, they don't have mayonnaise. He's like, I don't know what the fuck it was. It was some type of Japanese sauce. He's like, so they have it. He's like, but I think they make minor differences to their country,
yeah,
their cultural differences. Like you've been obviously in America multiple times, and I'm sure you
yeah.
probably, whether you wanted to or not, you went to a McDonald's. Is it
Yep.
similar? Is it the same in Holland then, or is there
It's
differences?
Yeah, it's similar. There's probably a few differences in specials. You know, like over here we have the Mac Croquette, which is based on a Dutch snack. You
What's
obviously
that?
don't have that in the States. Oh man, how the fuck do I explain
What
that?
I mean, is it chicken burger?
Croquette
Like,
is like no, it's like um uh, 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 breadcrumbs. Kind of looks like a short sausage, but they made a burger out of it. And there's the inside is more like a gravy kind of meat,
really?
beef stuff.
Any good?
It's good. I mean, if you eat it here, it's all right, you know. But the one from McDonald's is really crap. You need a real Dutch croquette is good, but not the McDonald's Mac croquette. But what I remember from the McDonald's in the US is when I had it is it's kind of similar, and the recipe and the burger is the same, but it's just a little bit more fat,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
more greasy.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
But it's been a while. I mean, it's been like 10 years ago, and
Else,
McDonald's over here uh, it's, has become really crappy in my opinion compared to 25 years ago. I don't
so
know. It's
the last
dry.
time
It's
you were in the States was 10 years ago.
stuff like that. Yeah, 2016 Maryland Death Fest.
Oh, so that okay. So the time when I saw you in person, that's the last time you've been in the States.
Yeah, that was 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, but I figured with maybe with one of the other bands or another severe torture, like maybe what's a California Death Fest, or I figured you maybe did something since then.
No, because after Maryland Death Fest, I think pretty much a year later, that's when I left Severe Torture. And my other two bands that I play for, well, we did a show outside of Holland here and there, but we never been to the States or anything like that. So
Why did I ask you that last time? Like, I mean, I got the gist of why you left severe torture, but what officially was like, I just don't want to do it no more because, like, even on your own by your own account, that was pretty much the most known band you're known for. Why
yeah,
did you just like why did you just at least do it? It's like it's the band that got the biggest for me. Just like at least it can take me places. Like why did you decide like I just don't want to do it no more. Like
because it kind of felt like an obligation. I wasn't really happy in the band no more, and the writing wasn't really going anywhere. It was taking a long time. Not really a lot of new stuff that we wrote. We actually liked a week later. And every time we were going out playing shows, it was the same old songs, and it was like, oh man, it just felt like something I had to do instead of something I wanted to do. And if that's the case, of course, you can do great shows and you can go to great countries. Um, but if you're not in the best mood, to do that, it's not going to be fun for the rest of the band as well. So instead of waiting until the time came that we actually started having really big irritations, I just took a step back and like, hey man, obviously I'm kind of done with this and I need something new. Or first of all, I needed nothing at all because the first year I didn't really play for anyone. So that's the main reason. And it's cool when you have some kind of success. Um, but if you have the feeling that it's something you have to do instead of something you really want to do at that time, don't do it. I mean, it's not honest to the fans, it's not honest to the rest of the band, and it's not honest to yourself. I mean, for me, it was really like, oh, well, we have to do this. Oh, we got to play a show there. Oh, man, I'm fucking tired, man. I don't want to do this. Oh, we have to play a show. Oh, that means we can't work on new songs again, but we have to rehearse like the set list, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, man. It got me in some kind of bad mood. And the rest of the band, they kind of noticed it. So we got around the table, and talked about it, as good friends. And I just said, like, hey, man, I'll just take a step back and you decide whatever you want to do. If you want to take a new drummer and continue, or because at that time it wasn't even sure if the whole band wanted to continue. They need to think about it as well. And then they had their talks and they got Damien in the band, and that's good, And after a year, that's when I got the offer to join the Kuluminati. And I had a year of doing nothing, and I was like, okay, man, this is something completely new. And it's also something I really like. And, that's when the fire started burning again.
well the Kuluminati, why did they decide to hit you up for that? Like what did you know those guys prior?
No, no, no. Davey saw me in Rotterdam when I was doing vocals with Deicide. And also, he knew Severe Torture, and he was actually a pretty big fan of the first two albums, what he told me.
Yeah.
And it was actually exactly when I heard the songs from their first album, I was like, why the hell did you guys ask me? I mean, because this kind of music is
It's
completely
totally
different.
different. Yeah.
It's like, how the hell do you know that I actually like this type of stuff?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different stuff that I'm into that is not death metal, but more weird stuff like Mr.
Yeah.
Bungle, Pink Floyd, Dillinger Escape Plan, Primus.
Yeah.
And to be able to do stuff like that, a band has to be a little bit more out of the box than a strict brutal death metal band. So that came kind of at the right time. And it took me a while, actually, a few weeks to decide, like, what am I going to do with this? Because it was really, I was like, holy shit. And, but then I asked them, like, hey, why did you ask me to do this? And Davey told me, like, yeah, well, I never saw you as a particular death metal drummer because when I heard your drumming, I could always hear, like, hey, this guy's using accents here, accents there, like different type of stuff. Um, yeah, and for some kind of reason, that's why he emailed me, and I'm happy I did it. I mean, I'm really proud of the album that we made, and we got some really cool stuff for the next ones that are. It's going to be completely different than the one that we just released. So, and no, the band doesn't have the kind of success that Severe Torture had. Of
Yeah,
course not. It's also a way newer band, and
yeah,
I don't even know if that's ever going to happen because the music is so weird that there's obviously also a lot of people that are going to say, "Oh man, I can't listen to this.
mhm,
this is
yeah,
completely not me," which is fine by me. That's not why I make music. I don't
yeah.
make it for success. I don't make it for the creative. I just make it for the creative process, and yeah, if I think I have to participate in something, I participate. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How many people did you get? So you do a 5-part interviews. I mean, we talked here and there on WhatsApp and once over the phone and shit since that, but like it's been a good couple months or whatever. How many people kind of like brought that up to you? The videos that you did with me, or like they like just said
Well, yeah,
anything?
you saw how fast those LPs and CDs were flying out the store once I sent them over to you. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, it gave that a good boost. And yeah, man, it was good responses so far. I mean, people like the videos, people like the interviews, and I think it's also because there's no script and it's pretty authentic and true. And you know, we don't mind what we say. We don't mind our words, or we don't give a shit if we step on people's toes. So
right.
that's what
Now
people kind of
the
dig, I guess.
the people like I know Neil's and people that watched it that know you personally, they like it. They're like, oh, that's cool that you went out. Because again, the reason I ask is because, dude, you'd be shocked at how many people they just don't. I mean, people that maybe I don't know very well, but have met and stuff, like just don't reply or some reply like, I don't know. Like I'm like, it's just think of it as a phone call. That's just like a what they call a
Yeah,
FaceTime phone call. It's a FaceTime phone call that I'm just recording,
yeah.
putting on the goddamn channel. I was like, it's nothing more, nothing less. I'm like,
But in
I
some
like,
in some kind of way, I can't blame him. I mean, there's a lot of trolls on the internet, and I mean, you fart in the wrong direction, and everybody's telling the world how it smelled, and you know, so people might be a little bit, how do you say that, pretentious, like, or not pretentious,
hesitant,
yeah,
hesitant. Yeah,
probably. They don't want the bad negative flow of comments following, and then feel like embarrassed and all that kind of stuff. So that's why maybe people are holding back. But I don't know. Personally, I don't really give a shit.
yeah. Yeah, so far, so I mean, it's only been a couple of days, and I know he's busy. I emailed Rob. Remember I texted you? So far, no reply.
Oh, Rob just takes a while to answer his emails,
Yeah, and
but
I didn't think
he,
he's
he
gonna
will
reply to.
answer.
Yeah, yeah,
He will answer. He will answer.
yeah. And I tossed in there the main thing I was gonna talk to you about because I'll jump into that now.
Yeah.
I threw it in there just at the end, just like, hey, I was gonna bring this up with Seth. So just brainstorming ideas, and like you were always talking about, yeah, yeah, you should come on over here, shit like that. I'm like, yeah, and the thing is Holland, Denmark, Spain, Australia, but that's be the last because it's so far away. Those are particular countries I've always wanted to visit and go to
Yeah.
that I never have. I've been to France multiple times, but never those. And I was just thinking, and main thing is I was talking over with my wife, and she's like, she's like, yeah, I'd like to go, but she's like, I don't really want to stay in a stranger's house or something like that. I was like, well, it's not set in stone where you stay or anything like that. If I was to go too, I was like, it'd be kind of cool. I was like, again, 70% chance won't do any of this. I just brainstorm ideas. And when I do, some happen, some don't, right? So one idea, I was like, what if I was to do like, let's say I was to go over there for a week, let's say 2 days for travel, 5 days stay there. I was like, but when I'm there, because it would be cool to meet a lot of band members and shit like that. And there's like, they're not going to come like drive up to a hotel or your house or something to come meet me. I was like, why not have an event? So hence like what I'm doing here, which is shit by the time people are watching this in like 20 days or probably less than that, maybe 20 days or something like that by the time this goes up. My first show's going on that I'm putting out. It's a 7 day, 7 band fest one day. I was like, why not if I do one next year, if it's
Yeah.
doable, do it over in Holland. Like do a
Yeah.
show in Holland, a 1 day thing. I'll announce it, I'll advertise it through here. I fly
Mhm.
out over there, I hang out. That way European and Scandinavian fans of myself and Hell's Headbangers that I know there's some, they're like, oh, I would love to come, but like I can't afford to travel to the States. I was like, well, I'm coming to you then. I mean, if you live in Germany or something, that's not that much of a flight and it's cheaper. So you could come
Yeah,
out. And I wanted to visit the country anyways. And also, what the fuck am I going to do? And the only thing is setting it up and knowing everything, like, for example, clubs, like what's good,
yeah,
etc. And but I
yeah.
assume either like yourself or people that would know guys. But I mean, throwing that out there, like, is it even worth doing anything in Howland? Like, I'm assuming you guys have a scene to where it's somewhat cool.
I think it's doable, but it depends on a few things. It
Yes.
depends on when, because obviously, if there's 4 or 5 shows in the same area, that means it would be 4 or 5 shows within, let's say, a 40-mile radius. That's how small it is. That's the area. Areas over here are small, and there could be multiple shows. So you either got to have a weekend where there's nothing else going on.
Well, put it this way
Like
to answer that question, what I was thinking, and nothing's set in stones. I could do technically whenever I want. But the reason I'm having mine's June 21st. Tickets in the description box, goddammit. The reason I'm doing it on June 21st is because the weather here is really nice. I wasn't going to do it in the wintertime. And I commented, for example, Maryland Death Fest is always in May. And there's now Milwaukee Metal Fest, which is another 6 hour drive the opposite way. It's literally this weekend. Eric's there, my brother vending. I was gonna go, but I didn't get dick for reply on interviews. I'm like, I can't justify a back to back being gone weekends if none of these jackasses are even gonna reply. I was like, there's no ROI for me on that. So I didn't go. I went the last 2 years. So those are both known in May. And then
mm,
Metal Threat, which is in Chicago, which is a really good one coming up. That's generally around this year. It's in October, but September, October. So I would pull those months out. So to me, in my mind, the best time is June, July, or August. Any of those 3 months. Don't care what
yeah,
weekend because I'd set it up way, way in advance. Because I'm
yeah,
assuming that your weather is similar to ours. I'm assuming it's just nice
yeah,
June, July, August over there.
yeah. June, July, August is the middle of summer festival season. So
Okay.
I'm wishing you good luck competing with Grasspop, Wacken, Hellfest, Summer Breeze, Partisan, Inflammen, Protsen Open Air. I don't know, man.
Okay,
Europe
but
is
even you know
packed.
what? But even better yet, because actually when I asked you, and Niels was even less help when I asked the question, I was like, forget me putting something out. I was like, if I was to go, I was like, I'd want to plan it for like, see what a show is like out there. I was like, is there a fest or something? He's like, oh man, I haven't been to a show since 2019. So he was zero help. It sounds like when I asked you you kind of had an answer, but it sounds like you have more of an answer now. These fests that you mentioned, are they actual like good metal fests or is it just like poser
Oh, they're
fucking gay
huge.
shit?
Wacken is I don't know how many thousand people, maybe 80,000 people.
Wait, which one? That's
Um,
I thought that Vakken. You said Vakken.
yeah,
I thought that's in Germany.
that's in Germany. Yeah, but people from all over Europe travel over there, and that's
Yeah,
the
no, I
same
get.
with
It. What month is that? What month is Vakken?
Wacken is in the beginning of August, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. And but Germany alone has I don't know how many open air fests. I mean over 20, and going from a couple of thousand people to 50,000 or even more.
Yeah.
And the same with Grasspop. Grasspop is always in June. Um, then there's Hellfest in France. That's
Yeah.
I think more than 100,000 people. And the thing is also, all these bands, what they do is they play these festivals and then they do a lot of in between shows because they need to fill up the days between the fest. And you usually see that some of these shows they draw a crowd, but a lot of these shows people are just not going because the thing is, people can only spend their money once. And
Yep.
going to a festival back in the day, you could do that for a couple of hundred, including all your food and drinks and whatever. But if you go to a 4-day open air fest in Europe right now with these prices that they ask, you need a grand, you
Yep.
know, and a lot of the kids, when
Don't
they
have that.
have it, they can only spend it once and then they're done.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of shows here and there, but you see pre-sales going down. You hear that more and more often from promoters. You see prices go up. I mean, I've seen some ridiculous entrance prices for shows for uh, even the one, I think that was in 013 a couple of weeks ago with Behemoth, Satyricon, and Rotting Christ, that cost more than €60.
Yeah.
And then, they're complaining, oh, touring is so expensive, but it was like 3,000 people inside.
Oh yeah.
Easy
Yeah.
calculating. That's 198,000
Yeah.
euros.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of money. T-shirts between 35 and 45 euros for a
Yeah.
fucking T-shirt. Come on. Yeah,
Well,
but
put
they
it
asked
this
for
way, like,
20.
so for example, like, I see what you're saying, but you got to keep in mind, like, at my thing, I'm only planning, like, I'm not planning like a fest to compete with shit like that. I'm talking about like a
Yeah,
1 day show type of thing, and just to have it
yeah,
as kind of almost like a meeting ground.
yeah. And that's what
Like
I'm
so,
saying. If you could do that and you could keep the costs low, so you can keep the entrance price low, and like a good underground day fest for 1 day, people are gonna love the fuck out of it.
yeah,
And especially when you have a good lineup with some bands that people actually want to see,
yeah,
instead of, that's my problem with the really big festivals. They book the bands that have licked their ways in. They know the right people, and that's why they're there, and they're in the right magazines, and they're on the right labels, and that's why you get to see those bands. But those are not the bands that I want to see.
right, yeah, yeah.
That's why this year, for the first time, I'm thinking about going to Baruch Open Air in Rotterdam because Portal was playing.
Okay, yeah.
Now that's a band I really want to see live.
Have you ever seen them?
No, no.
Yeah, I seen them
So
once.
that's
Actually, I got to hang out with those guys all day. They stayed at my brother Craig's house, and I was hanging out with them. They're cool. I'm not really a big fan of Portal's music. We released them, but they're cool and they're live. They're awesome looking, big clock on the head and shit. So
yeah,
they played in Cleveland. Yeah, that was shit. That was like probably 15 years. That was probably like 2008, I think, 8 or
mm-hmm,
9. So I did get to see
yeah.
them. And yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I thought for sure they would because I figured they would have been Holland and all those countries over there. I figured they would have done some type of tour.
I don't know if they played Holland before, but I know that Rob from Centurion, he went to, I think it was Paris once to see Portal,
Oh, so
or at least he was.
he likes them
Oh,
that
he's a big
much.
fan. Oh, he likes him a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Rob is the one that got me into Portal.
Okay.
He's the first one that showed me Portal CDs and was like, Seth, you need to listen to this.
Yeah.
This is brilliant, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my first listen was like, okay, why am I not surprised that Rob thinks this is brilliant? Because it's the music of Portal is kind of what's going on in Rob's head, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then, I listened to it more and more and more, and I think it is kind of brilliant. So, Rob was right.
Well, since you talk about Rob, that's why I said I threw that email. I was like, by the way, I was going to talk to Seth about it. I was like, again, 70% chance I'm not going to do it. But let's just say the 30% chance I did do a show. I was like, I know you're busy and you don't want to do Centurion and shit like that. And I know traveling and shit's harder. Would that be more doable if you did it just in your back fucking yard?
Well, the thing is, what I read lately is that with all the work permits and visa shit going on, it's going to get kind of hard for a lot of bands to come over to the US, because I hear there's a lot of work visas being rejected for no
That too.
fucking reason.
Yeah, that's in the middle. I think we'll know by next year for sure because we're gonna find out with Metal Threat, Paul Dunsky bringing a lot of. He's the one that did my visas for my overseas band Attic, and their visas
Yeah,
were approved. And he was telling me about that problem. He's like, I'm gonna know for sure by the end of this one. He's like, but I'm expecting a bunch to get
yeah,
rejected, and so I think come after he's going to be the litmus test for sure. As far as
yeah,
okay, how well is this going? Because
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
but
Because
I'm glad you brought that up. How does that work though? Like, let's just say, let's say I did a show over there and I wanted a band because a band would be an option if they actually fucking replied, which they somewhat do. Let's say I wanted to bring Denial of God from Denmark. They're from Denmark to play in Holland. Let's say they're one of the bands I'm playing. Roughly, how much is it to fly from Denmark to Holland? I know you're not a flight job, but I mean it's much cheaper than the U.S., right? It's not like
I have,
if I well, because for
I've got
example,
no clue, but
But
I
when you
think,
flew to Paris, you flew to Paris,
yeah,
right? Or did you? That's how you got there.
Oh no, Rob went there.
Yeah, how did he get
Probably
there?
when we go to Paris, we could also drive there because it's not that far. But
Okay.
a lot of people fly, but it depends on the offer you get. But it's not too expensive, but it really depends from what airport to what airport with what airline.
Yeah, because
When you book it, if it's in like a high season or a low season. Yeah.
for example, like just if you do it right here, and I know, and I was spot on, like when I did X, it's about $1,000 a ticket from like let's say from Holland or Germany to Cleveland, roughly 1,000, give or take. I can't
Yeah.
imagine like if you're anywhere over there, I can be totally wrong. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, or any of the countries that are a hell of a lot closer than goddamn U.S. That's for sure. I can't imagine it to be the same as flying them to the U.S. price
Oh
wise.
no, that's tickets. Those kind of tickets you could get like really cheap ones, like fly to London for 40 euros or something like that. But
See, I was thinking,
usually,
but I was thinking like if I heard Denmark to Holland and they're like they're $300 a piece, I'd be like, fucking sign me up. Great. I was like, that's
oh, I
cheap.
think I think half if you book them in time, and if it's not in a holiday season, then you could probably do. But even Denmark, a lot of bands that would come to Holland from Denmark, they could actually rent a van and bring their gear in the van and
There you
drive,
go. Yeah.
because that you could do that in one day.
Because I mean, like right out the gate, I mean, a show that I would get. I mean, if I had just two bands right out the gate, Denial and Centurion, I'd be like, fuck, Denial God and Centurion. I'd be like, 1,000%. You know what's funny? I could say this too, and I don't want to sound overly confident. If Denial of God and Centurion played Holland and I was putting it out and I advertised it, I'm not saying hundreds of people would come from the US, but I promise you at least a dozen people from the US would come. I
Yeah, you
guarantee.
think
I
so?
would bet money on it.
Okay.
Guaranteed. Because there's a few people, I don't want to shout any names out, that I'm pretty certain. So I'm not going to shout their names out just in case I'm almost positive would come. You know?
Yeah, you put if you shout their names on, you put pressure on them when it
Right,
happens.
exactly. I don't want to make them feel obligated. Exactly. I don't want them to fucking feel obligated. Exactly. Right. So, but and what about the from those countries? You know, from France to Holland, Denmark to Holland. Like, you guys don't need to dick around with visas, do you?
No,
See, that's nice.
only country. Yeah, the only country you need a visa for is the UK.
Okay.
They have some kind of work permit thing, and then if you go into Switzerland, you always need to calculate all your T-shirts and all that kind of stuff because they tax your merch, and then you got to pay tax from everything you bring in, and then when you leave the country, they do a recount to see how much is sold, and then you get money back. Oh, it's a big hassle every time, but that's pretty much the only thing in Europe, especially in the European Union.
Now you're saying the UK, is that going from Holland to the UK or the UK going to Holland? Because it's funny you say that because another band that I would love to play would be my third band I would pick is
Yeah,
Desecration from Wales, and that's United
yeah,
Kingdom. Now,
yeah.
are you telling me Desecration to play Holland, they would need a visa?
No, no, because no band in Holland needs a visa. Everyone just walks in here and plays.
See
Every
that I can tell
American
you right now,
band that
dude.
plays. Yeah,
Dude, I can tell you right now, a lot of the bands that I personally want to see, let's just say I was putting this up, forget making money. Let's just say it's like, oh, I'll lose a couple $1,000 or whatever, even a few thousand. Just bands that I want to see. It is less of a hassle for me to fly to fucking Howland than to get
yeah.
visas for all these bands and bring them to the US.
Oh yeah. I mean, what you're saying sounds kind of obvious to me. I mean, it's definitely less of a hassle to have European bands playing Europe than to get them to the US. I mean, when we played Maryland Death Fest, just imagine, we started the whole visa process 8 months before the fest actually happened, and I got my passport back 2 days because before I was going on the plane. Nervous as fuck, like, am I gonna get it in time? And are we actually gonna play this show? And we did everything in time, and that was in 2016, 8 months ahead.
Wait,
I
Seth,
mean,
hold that thought. You want me to send you another link? This thing's going to end out in a few seconds.
yeah,
You want me to send you another one?
no, no, you go ahead. You can do
Okay,
that.
cool. Let's be a few minutes. All right, God
We
damn it.
gotta
Watch
keep
out for
up
Seth
with
again.
news.
Later, God damn it.